The night Dr. Marcus Reed pulled a dying alien girl from a smoldering crater, two impossible truths burned into his mind. Her blood could cure any disease, and it was killing her. Now, with shadowy hunters closing in and a biotech empire's secrets unraveling, Marcus must confront the darkest question of all. What if he wasn't human either? The clock is ticking. Her light is fading. And the cure that could save millions might just be the weapon that ends everything. Run, hide, pray. But whatever you do, don't let them catch you. Please wait. Before we start, tap that card in the top right corner and smash that subscribe button right now. Hit the notification bell so you're first in line when new stories land. Also, you can check the Alien Paradox playlist for more exciting stories. There's a question hidden in the pinned comment below. Crack the code by watching the complete story and answer the question. Alright, let's dive into the story. The rain came down in sheets, pounding against the pavement like 1,000 frantic fists. Dr. Marcus Reed barely felt it. His lab coat clung to his shoulders, heavy with water, his shoes splashing through puddles as he sprinted toward the plume of smoke rising from Greenwood Park. The 911 calls had been frantic. Something had crashed from the sky, something big. And as the city's leading virologist, Marcus had been summoned to assess any potential biohazard. He skidded to a halt at the edge of the crater, his breath ragged. The air smelled like burnt metal and ozone. And then, movement. A figure, half buried in the debris, struggling to rise. Marcus's pulse spiked. "Hey, are you hurt?" The figure turned, and his stomach dropped. She was impossible. Her suit, if it could even be called that, was a sleek, form-fitting silver clinging to her like a second skin, highlighting every curve of her toned, athletic frame. Her hair, long and ink black, was streaked with strands of shimmering blue, as if woven from starlight. But it was her eyes that froze him in place, pupils like liquid mercury, glowing faintly in the dark. She gasped, clutching her side, where a deep gash seeped something dark and iridescent. Not red, not human. Marcus's medical instincts kicked in. "You're bleeding. Let me help." She flinched away, her voice sharp with pain and suspicion. "Don't touch me." He held up his hands. "I'm a doctor. I can help." Her glowing eyes flickered over him, assessing. Then, with a grimace, she tried to stand and collapsed. Marcus lunged forward, catching her just before she hit the ground. Her skin was warm, almost feverish, and where her blood smeared against his wrist, something incredible happened. The old scar on his hand, a childhood burn he'd had for 20 years, faded. Marcus stared, stunned. "What the hell?" The woman groaned, her fingers digging into his arm. "They're coming. You need to run." "Who's coming?" She didn't answer. Her head lolled against his chest, her breathing shallow. Marcus hesitated only a second before scooping her into his arms. Whatever she wasn't safe here. And if someone was chasing her, a distant sound cut through the rain, engines' heavy boots. He cursed under his breath and tightened his grip. "Hold on." She didn't respond. Marcus turned and ran, her weight light but unnatural in his arms. Behind him, the first flashlights pierced the trees. Too close. He ducked into an alley, heart hammering. The woman stirred weakly, her voice barely a whisper. "Why are you helping me?" Marcus adjusted his grip, his breath fogging in the cold air. "Because you're the most interesting thing that's ever happened to me." A faint, pained smile touched her lips. Then the world erupted in sirens. Marcus's private lab was never meant for guests, especially not otherworldly ones. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as he laid the woman on the examination table, her silver suit still shimmering faintly under the clinical glow. She was out cold, her breathing shallow but steady. He grabbed his medical kit, hands shaking slightly as he prepped a syringe. "All right, mystery woman, let's see what you're made of." The needle barely touched her skin before her eyes snapped open, her hand clamping around his wrist with terrifying strength. "What are you doing?" Her voice was sharp, laced with something between fear and warning. Marcus swallowed hard but held his ground. "Running tests. Your blood just healed a scar on my hand like it was nothing." That's not exactly normal. Her grip tightened for a heartbeat before she released him, wincing as she pushed herself up. "You don't understand what you're dealing with." "Then explain it to me." She studied him, those eerie silver eyes flickering with something unreadable. Finally, she sighed. "My name is Astra. In my blood, it's not just for healing." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Okay, cryptic. Care to elaborate?" Before she could answer, a sharp beep cut through the air. Marcus's computer screen lit up with incoming data, the preliminary blood analysis. His breath caught in his throat. This can't be right." Astra's lips curled into a bitter smile. "Let me guess. No human DNA markers? Cellular regeneration at impossible rates." Marcus spun toward her. "What are you?" She hesitated, then lifted her sleeve, revealing a network of faint, glowing veins beneath her skin. A mistake. One they'll do anything to erase. The weight of her words settled over him. "Who's they?" Astra's gaze darted to the lab security feed, a black van pulling up outside. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "No time. They're here." Marcus's pulse spiked. "Who's here?" Astra swung her legs off the table, swaying slightly before steadying herself. "The people who made me. And if they find us, they'll dissect you just for touching me." Marcus grabbed her arm as she stumbled. "You can barely stand. We're not going anywhere until you tell me what's really going on." Astra yanked free, her eyes blazing. "You want the truth? Fine. My blood doesn't just cure diseases, it rewrites biology. And they've spent years turning it into a weapon." A loud bang echoed from the front of the building. Astra's voice turned urgent. "They'll kill you to keep their secret. So either help me, or get out of my way." Marcus stared at her, his mind racing. Then, with a sharp nod, he grabbed his keys. "Back door. Now." Astra's smirk was faint, but there. Finally, a human with brains. Marcus shot her a look as they slipped into the hallway. "Yeah, well, don't get used to it." The sound of shattering glass sent them sprinting into the night. The alley behind Marcus's lab stank of damp concrete and rotting garbage, but right now, it was the safest place in the world. Astra leaned heavily against the brick wall, her breath coming in short, pained gasps. Marcus kept one hand on her arm, the other gripping his phone as he scrolled frantically through his contacts. "We can't stay here," Astra muttered, her glowing veins pulsing weakly under her skin. "They'll track my biosignature." Marcus shot her a sideways glance. "Biosignature? What, like a homing beacon?" "Something like that." She winced as she adjusted her weight. "Think of it as an energy fingerprint. Unique. Unmistakable. Great. So we're basically carrying a neon sign that says, 'Here we are.'" Astra's lips twitched despite the pain. "Your grasp of the obvious is astounding." Marcus ignored the jab, finally landing on a name in his phone. "I know a place. An old research bunker outside the city. Abandoned, off-grid. If we can get there." Astra suddenly stiffened, her head snapping toward the mouth of the alley. Too late. Footsteps. Heavy. Purposeful. Marcus didn't wait. He grabbed Astra's hand and yanked her deeper into the shadows, just as a flashlight beam cut through the darkness. "Spread out," a gruff voice ordered. "She can't have gone far." Astra's fingers tightened around Marcus's. "If they catch us, I know, dissection, death, all that fun stuff." Marcus squeezed back, his pulse hammering. "There's a service hatch at the end of this alley. Leads to the subway tunnels." Astra's eyes narrowed. "You've done this before. What? You think curing diseases is my only rebellious phase?" They moved in silence, sticking to the walls, every footstep a potential giveaway. The hatch was just ahead, rusted but still functional. Marcus pried it open with a grunt, the hinges protesting loudly. Astra didn't hesitate. She dropped into the darkness below, landing with a grace that shouldn't have been possible for someone so injured. Marcus followed, pulling the hatch shut just as another flashlight beam swept over it. The tunnels were damp and reeked of mildew, but they were empty for now. Astra leaned against the tunnel wall, her breathing ragged. "We need to keep moving." Marcus studied her in the dim light. The glow of her veins was fading. "You're getting worse." She waved him off. "I'll live." "Probably." "That's really not reassuring." Astra pushed off the wall, staggering slightly before finding her balance. "Then stop asking questions you don't want answers to." Marcus exhaled sharply, but didn't argue. Instead, he pulled out his phone again, using the dim light to navigate the labyrinth of tunnels. "This way. There's an old service elevator that'll take us up near the river. From there, we can—" Astra suddenly grabbed his arm, her grip like iron. "Wait." Marcus froze. "What?" She tilted her head, listening. Then, her voice dropped to a whisper. "We're not alone." A distant click echoed through the tunnel, the sound of a gun's safety being switched off. Marcus didn't breathe. The darkness of the tunnel pressed in around them, thick and suffocating. Astra's fingers dug into his arm like talons, her body coiled tight as a spring. "Move," she whispered, shoving him sideways just as a gunshot shattered the silence. The bullet ricocheted off the tunnel wall, sparks flying. Marcus stumbled, his heart slamming against his ribs. "What the hell?" "Run," Astra hissed, yanking him forward. They sprinted through the maze of tunnels, their footsteps echoing wildly. Behind them, heavy boots pounded in pursuit. Marcus risked a glance back. 3 figures in black tactical gear, their faces obscured by masks. Astra suddenly skidded to a stop, her eyes darting to a rusted metal door half hidden in the shadows. "In here!" She wrenched it open, shoving Marcus inside before slamming it shut behind them. The room was small, cluttered with old maintenance equipment, and the air was thick with dust. Marcus pressed his ear to the door, listening as the hunters ran past. "They missed us," he breathed. "For now." Astra slumped against the wall, her hand pressed to her side where fresh, iridescent blood seeped through her suit. "They won't stop. Not until they have me." Marcus crouched beside her, his voice low. "Who are these guys? Government?" "They are." Before Marcus could react, she grabbed a rusted pipe from the floor and slammed it into the control panel by the door. Sparks flew as the tunnel outside erupted in red emergency lights. Astra's grin was feral. Subway maintenance failsafes. These tunnels flood in 60 seconds if the system thinks there's a breach. Marcus's eyes widened. "You're going to drown them? Would you prefer they shoot us?" Another bang, harder this time. The door shuttered. Marcus grabbed Astra's arm. "We need to go. Now." They bolted for the back exit as the first jets of water burst from the ceiling pipes behind them. The hunters' shouts turned to panicked curses as the tunnel began filling rapidly. Astra didn't look back. Marcus followed her through a narrow service shaft, the sound of rushing water growing fainter as they climbed. When they finally emerged onto a deserted street, gasping for air, he turned to her. "Remind me never to piss you off." Astra wiped blood from her lip, her smirk returning. "Smart man." A distant siren wailed. Time was up. Marcus nodded toward the river. "Bunker's 2 miles that way. You gotta run." Astra rolled her shoulders, her glow flickering back to life. "Try to keep up." Then she took off, leaving Marcus scrambling after her into the night. The abandoned bunker loomed ahead, half buried in overgrown weeds, its metal door streaked with rust. Marcus fumbled with the keys, his hands shaking from adrenaline and exhaustion. Astra leaned against the wall beside him, her breathing labored, the glow of her veins now dim and erratic. "Hurry up," she muttered, her silver eyes scanning the tree line. "They'll regroup faster than you think." Marcus finally got the door open with a protesting screech of hinges. "After you, Your Highness." Astra shot him a withering look, but stepped inside. The bunker was exactly as Marcus remembered, dusty, cold, and stocked with enough emergency supplies to last a month. He flicked on the generator, and dim fluorescent lights flickered to life, revealing rows of old lab equipment and a makeshift medical station. Astra collapsed onto a cot, her face pale. Charming. Marcus grabbed a first aid kit and knelt beside her. "Let me see." She batted his hands away. "I told you, human medicine won't work on me." "Yeah, well, humor me." He peeled back the torn fabric of her suit, revealing the gunshot wound. The edges were blackened, as if the injury was rotting from the inside. Marcus's stomach turned. "Astra, this isn't healing." She looked away. "I know. What's happening to you?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "My blood, it's rejecting me." Marcus froze. "What do you mean?" Astra's fingers trembled as she touched the wound. "Blackridge didn't just create me. They programmed me. My blood was designed to be a weapon, a bioweapon that rewrites DNA. But they couldn't control it, so they built in a fail-safe." Marcus's blood ran cold. "A kill switch." She nodded. "And they activated at the moment I escaped." The pieces clicked together in Marcus's mind. "That's why you're dying. Your own blood is turning against you." Astra's laugh was hollow. "Poetic, isn't it?" Marcus stood abruptly, pacing the small room. "There has to be a way to stop it. Reverse it. Even if there was, we don't have time." Astra coughed, dark, iridescent blood staining her lips. "They'll find us soon. And when they do..." A loud thud against the bunker door cut her off. Marcus's head snapped up. "They're here." Astra struggled to sit up, her voice urgent. "There's a back exit. Go." Marcus didn't move. "Not without you. You stubborn." Another thud, harder this time. The door groaned under the impact. Astra grabbed Marcus's collar, yanking him down to her level. Her silver eyes burned with intensity. "Listen to me. My blood can save millions, but only if it doesn't fall back into their hands. You have to destroy it. Destroy me." Marcus recoiled. "I'm not killing you. You don't have a choice." The door burst open. Black-clad figures stormed in, guns raised. At their head stood a woman in a pristine white lab coat. Dr. Lillian Graves, Marcus's former mentor, had an icy smile as sharp as a scalpel. "Hello, Marcus." Her gaze flicked to Astra. "I see you've been playing with things you don't understand." Marcus stepped between them, his hands clenched into fists. "You're not taking her." Lillian sighed, as if disappointed. "Always the hero." She raised a small device, a trigger. "Pity it won't matter." She pressed the button. Astra screamed. Her body convulsed, her veins turning black as the fail-safe activated in full. Marcus caught her as she collapsed, her weight suddenly limp in his arms. Lillian's smile widened. "Goodbye, Astra." Then the world exploded in gunfire. Chaos erupted as the bunker's lights flickered violently. Marcus barely registered the gunfire. His entire world narrowed to Astra convulsing in his arms, her veins pulsing black under her skin. Lillian's voice cut through the noise like a scalpel. "Put her down, Marcus." "She's already dead." Marcus tightened his grip, his voice raw. "What did you do to her?" "The inevitable." Lillian adjusted her glasses, coldly clinical. Her blood was always meant to be harvested, not wasted on some doomed rebellion. Astra gasped, her fingers clawing at Marcus's shirt. "Don't let them..." Her words dissolved into a choked cough, dark blood spilling down her chin. Marcus's mind raced. The medical station, there had to be something. He lunged for it, dragging Astra with him as bullets tore into the wall above their heads. Lillian sighed. "Really, Marcus? After everything, you'd throw your life away for it?" He ignored her, grabbing a syringe and a vial of adrenaline. "This might hurt," he muttered to Astra. Her laugh was weak, broken. Worse than dying, the needle plunged into her arm. For a heartbeat, nothing. Then Astra's back arched off the cot as her veins flared, a brilliant silver cutting through the black. Lillian's composure cracked. Impossible. The fail-safe. Astra's eyes snapped open, burning with otherworldly light. You shouldn't have come here. She moved faster than humanly possible. 1 second, she was dying in Marcus's arms. The next, she'd ripped the gun from the nearest guard and fired 3 precise shots. The lights exploded in a shower of sparks, plunging the bunker into darkness. Marcus hit the floor as chaos erupted, shouting, scrambling, the thud of bodies hitting concrete. A hand grabbed his collar, yanking him up. Astra's face loomed inches from his, her glow the only light in the blackness. "Run," she ordered. They bolted for the back exit, Astra moving with unnatural speed despite her injuries. Behind them, Lillian's scream of rage echoed off the walls. "You can't escape. We made you." Astra didn't look back. They burst into the cold night air, the forest swallowing them whole. Marcus's lungs burned, but he pushed harder, following Astra's glowing silhouette as she weaved through the trees. After what felt like miles, she collapsed against a moss-covered boulder, her light flickering dangerously. Marcus skidded to his knees beside her. That adrenaline. It shouldn't have worked, he panted. Astra's smile was grim. "I told you, my blood rewrites biology. Even its own." She winced as another wave of pain hit. "But it's temporary. The fail-safe, it's still killing me." Marcus gripped her shoulders. "Then we find a way to stop it. Permanently." Astra's gaze locked onto his, deadly serious. There's only one place with that answer. Somewhere in the distance, dogs barked, Blackridge's trackers closing in. Marcus swallowed hard. "Where?" Astra's whisper sent chills down his spine. Where it all began. Blackridge's Level 9 lab. She coughed, her glow dimming again. "Where they made us." Marcus froze. "Us." Astra's hand found his, her touch burning with unnatural heat. "You didn't really think. You were just some virologist, did you?" The howling wind swallowed Marcus's reply as the truth crashed over him. This was far from over. And the answers lay buried in the darkest place of all. The Blackridge facility loomed before them. A monstrous concrete fortress hidden deep in the mountains, its windows dark like dead eyes. Marcus's hands shook as he crouched beside Astra in the tree line, the cold biting through his jacket. "You're telling me I was made here?" His voice sounded foreign to his ears. Astra's glowing veins pulsed weakly in the moonlight. "Not just made, designed. You were their first successful hybrid, human DNA spliced with theirs." She nodded toward the facility. "But when you didn't develop the abilities they wanted, they wiped your memory and threw you away." Marcus's stomach twisted. "And you?" "I was their second attempt." Her jaw tightened. "Perfect. Until I wasn't." A sudden burst of static crackled from a guard's radio nearby. They were running out of time. Marcus exhaled sharply. "So how do we get in?" Astra's smile was all sharp edges. "Same way I got out." She grabbed his hand and sprinted toward a hidden grate near the perimeter fence. The metal groaned as she ripped it open with inhuman strength. The tunnels beneath the facility reeked of chemicals and something metallic, something wrong. Marcus's skin crawled as they navigated the labyrinth, every shadow feeling alive. Astra suddenly stopped, her glow flaring. "Here." She pressed her palm against a seemingly blank wall. A hidden panel slid open with a hiss, revealing a sterile white lab and rows upon rows of glass tanks. Marcus's breath caught. Floating inside were bodies. Dozens of them. Some human, some not. "Welcome home," Astra whispered. A voice rang out behind them. "I knew you'd come back." Lillian stood in the doorway, flanked by armed guards, her white coat pristine. "You really should have stayed dead, Astra." Astra didn't flinch. "Funny, I was about to say the same to you." Lillian's smile turned icy. She held up a device, the kill switch. One press, and your blood turns to poison. "But give yourself up, and I'll let Marcus live." Marcus stepped forward. "Don't." Astra's hand shot out, stopping him. Her voice was eerily calm. "You lose either way, Lillian, because I already changed the failsafe." Lillian's confidence faltered. "What?" Astra's glow suddenly blazed brighter than ever. "You want a weapon? Here it is." She grabbed Marcus's hand and slammed it onto the lab's main console. The world exploded in light. Alarms wailed as the glass tanks shattered one by one, their occupants collapsing into nothingness. Lillian screamed as the facility began to self-destruct around them. Marcus gasped as a surge of energy ripped through him, memories flooding back in a torrent. The experiments, the pain, the truth. Astra's voice cut through the chaos. "Now you see." Lillian lunged for the kill switch, but Astra was faster. She caught the woman's wrist, her grip unbreakable. You don't get to decide who lives anymore. With one sharp twist, the device crumbled to dust. The last thing Marcus saw before the explosion was Astra's smile, triumphant and free as the facility collapsed around them. And that was the end of the story. Comment below if you want the next chapter, and hit that like button. Please subscribe, turn on the bell, and, as always, keep the last light burning.